The Imperial scout ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, its dark hull reflecting the distant sunlight. Inside the command center, the alien crew looked at their screens with growing confusion. This was not what they had expected to find. "Captain, we're detecting artificial structures throughout the system," reported First Officer Grant of the Imperial Scout Ship Dominance. "They appear to be defense platforms." Captain Roberts of the Imperial Fleet leaned forward in his command chair, his gray skin wrinkling around his eyes. In his 1,000 years of service to the Empire, he had never encountered a primitive world with system-wide defenses. Earth was supposed to be an easy target, just another planet to add to the Empire's vast collection. But the sensor readings didn't lie. From Mars to Neptune, a complex network of defense satellites and monitoring stations formed an invisible web around the solar system. Each platform carried energy signatures that matched or exceeded Imperial military standards. "Impossible," Roberts muttered. "The last survey was only 50 years ago. They were still burning fossil fuels and fighting among themselves." On Earth, deep within the Rocky Mountains, Commander James Walker stood in the Global Defense Council's command center. Large screens covered the walls, showing the positions of Earth's defense fleet and the approaching Imperial scouts. The room hummed with activity as officers and analysts tracked every movement of the alien vessels. "They'd stopped just beyond Neptune's orbit, sir," reported Lieutenant Anna White, her fingers moving quickly across her holographic display. "Their ships matched the designs we extracted from their probe signals 3 years ago." Commander Walker nodded. Earth had been preparing for this moment ever since their quantum detection array had picked up the Empire's scout probe. Instead of panicking, humanity had done what it did best: adapted and prepared. "Status of the defense grid?" Walker asked, his voice calm despite the historic moment unfolding before them. "All systems operational, sir," responded Captain Michael Brown from his station. "The quantum entanglement network is maintaining 100% coverage. No blind spots. If they try to slip through, we'll know." Walker allowed himself a small smile. The aliens thought they were being subtle, sending their scouts ahead of the main fleet. They didn't know that Earth had detected their entire armada, still 2 months away, gathering at their forward base. "Put me through to all commands," Walker ordered, straightening his uniform. As the communication officer nodded, he began speaking. "This is Commander Walker. First contact protocol is now in effect. All units maintain emission control. Let them think they're being sneaky. We've trained for this." Across the solar system, Earth's defense forces acknowledged the order. Hidden bases on Mars, Europa, and Titan went into silent running. Automated defense platforms powered down to minimal operations, appearing as little more than space debris to Imperial scanners. Back on the Imperial scout ship, Captain Roberts made his decision. Launch the probe. Let's see how they react to a formal Imperial greeting. A small craft detached from the Dominance, streaking toward Earth at substantial speed. As it passed Jupiter's orbit, Earth's defensive grid tracked its every movement, but took no action. In the Mountain Command Center, Walker watched the probe's approach. "Time to show them our first surprise. Dr. Reed, you're up." Dr. Elizabeth Reed, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stepped forward. Her team had spent the last 3 years studying and improving upon Imperial technology, just from analyzing their probe signals. "Initiating quantum interference pattern now," she said, activating their countermeasure. The Imperial probe suddenly stopped, its systems completely scrambled by Earth's quantum defense field. Inside the Dominance, alarms blared as they lost all contact with their probe. "What just happened?" Roberts demanded, watching his probe's signal vanish. First Officer Grant's voice shook slightly as he reported, "Sir, whatever they used, it's technology we've never seen before. The probe's quantum core didn't just fail. It's been completely rewritten at the subatomic level." Captain Roberts stared at the blue-green planet in the distance. His mission was supposed to be a simple survey of a primitive world. Instead, he'd just discovered something unprecedented. A young civilization that had taken a completely different path of technological development than the Empire. As he prepared to send an emergency message to the Imperial fleet, Roberts couldn't shake the feeling that the Empire had made a terrible mistake in choosing Earth as its next target. They hadn't found another primitive world to conquer. They'd awakened a sleeping giant. 2 days after the probe incident, a massive Imperial warship dropped out of hyperspace. It dwarfed the scout ships, its hull decorated with the battle marks of 1,000 conquered worlds. This was the Imperial command ship Sovereign, carrying Admiral Marcus, one of the Empire's most feared commanders. The ship's arrival sent waves of activity through Earth's defense network. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Commander Walker watched the massive vessel with calm eyes. "They certainly like to show off," he said, studying the warship's design. "Size of a small city, that one." Lieutenant White's console lit up with incoming data. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies. It's a demand for communication." Admiral Marcus stood on his ship's command deck, his decorated uniform gleaming under the bright lights. His species looked almost human, except for the metallic sheen of their skin, a result of the Empire's genetic modifications over thousands of years. "Primitive world of Earth." Marcus's voice boomed through every communication device on the planet. "I am Admiral Marcus of the Galactic Empire. For 10,000 years, we have brought order and progress to the galaxy. Your world has been chosen to join our magnificent empire." In the command center, Dr. Reed worked quickly at her station, analyzing the Imperial transmission. "Commander, their broadcast is carrying embedded command codes. They're trying to access our systems." Walker nodded. "Just as we expected. Ready the response." "Quantum encryption package is prepared," Dr. Reed confirmed, her fingers flying over her holographic controls. "They won't know what hit them." Admiral Marcus continued his speech, unaware of Earth's preparations. "You have 2 planetary rotations to surrender control of your world. The Empire is generous. Submit, and you will be given positions of responsibility within our hierarchy. Resist, and..." The Admiral's voice cut off mid-sentence. On the Sovereign's bridge, every screen went dark. The ship's mighty engines sputtered and died. Throughout the Imperial fleet, ships lost power and began drifting. "What is happening?" Marcus demanded, watching his mighty warship turn into a powerless hulk. His technical officer worked frantically at the dead controls. "Sir, something entered our networks through our own transmission. It's like nothing we've seen before. The quantum cores, they're being rewritten." Back on Earth, Dr. Reed allowed herself a small smile. "Quantum virus deployed successfully. Their entire command and control network is now running on our protocols." Commander Walker pressed a button on his chair. "This is Earth responding to your generous offer, Admiral Marcus." In the Imperial ship, Marcus heard Walker's voice coming from every speaker, even personal devices that weren't connected to any network. "We've taken the liberty of upgrading your outdated systems," Walker continued. "Don't worry. We left life support and artificial gravity untouched. We're not monsters after all." Marcus's face turned a dark shade of gray in anger. "How dare you? Our technology is the pinnacle of galactic achievement." "Was the pinnacle," Dr. Reed corrected, joining the transmission. "Your quantum technology is impressive, but you stopped innovating centuries ago. While you were busy conquering, we were busy learning. Your probe taught us everything we needed to know about your system's weaknesses." To demonstrate her point, she pressed a button. Throughout the Imperial fleet, ships' lights turned on and off in perfect synchronization, creating a wave pattern visible from Earth. "Pretty, isn't it?" she asked. "We can control every system on your ships now." The Empire's mighty fleet, dancing to Earth's tune. Admiral Marcus gripped his command chair tightly. In all his years of service, no civilization had ever humiliated the Empire like this. Primitive worlds were supposed to cower in fear, not take control of Imperial warships with ease. "This is your only warning." Commander Walker's voice turned serious. The Empire is not welcome in the solar system. We've studied your history, how you exploit divided worlds, how you crush resistance with overwhelming force. But Earth is different. We united the moment we detected your probe. Dr. Reed added a final touch, sending a complete technical analysis of the Imperial fleet's weaknesses to Marcus's personal device. Consider this a demonstration of what happens when you underestimate Earth. Next time, we won't be so gentle. On the powerless bridge of his mighty warship, Admiral Marcus realized with growing horror that his simple conquest had turned into a nightmare. These humans hadn't just resisted. They had turned the Empire's own technology against them with embarrassing ease. As emergency power slowly returned to the Imperial ships, Marcus knew he had to make a choice: retreat and face the Empire's disappointment, or push forward and risk an even greater humiliation. Either way, Earth had just changed the rules of the game. Admiral Marcus paced on his bridge, his metallic skin reflecting the red emergency lights. After 3 days of humiliation, the Empire's main fleet had finally arrived. 500 warships filled the space near Jupiter, their weapons powered and ready. "Status of our communication systems," he demanded. "Restored to Imperial control, sir," his technical officer reported. "The human's quantum virus has been purged. We're ready to begin the attack." Marcus smiled coldly. "Let's show these humans what real power looks like. All ships, battle formation Delta. Target their orbital platforms first." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Commander Walker watched the Imperial fleet's movement with steady eyes. They're arranging for a standard Imperial assault pattern, just like the old battle records showed. Captain Thomas Anderson, leader of Earth's newly formed Shadow Fleet, stepped forward. "Permission to execute Operation Phantasm, sir." Walker nodded. "Show them why we named it the Shadow Fleet, Captain." Anderson smiled and touched his communication panel. "All Shadow Fleet vessels, activate phase drives. Remember your training. Let's show the Empire something they've never seen before." Across the solar system, 200 Earth ships simultaneously vanished from all sensors. They didn't use cloaking devices or stealth technology. They simply phased out of normal spacetime, becoming living ghosts. On the Imperial flagship, alarms blared. "Admiral," the sensor officer shouted. "The Earth ships, they're gone." "Impossible," Marcus growled. "Launch the first wave. Begin the orbital bombardment. Their defense platforms want—" He never finished his sentence. The first wave of Imperial ships suddenly found themselves under attack from enemies they couldn't see. Earth's Shadow Fleet ships phased in and out of normal space, firing their weapons during the split seconds they were solid. "What kind of technology is this?" Marcus demanded, watching his ships exploding one after another. "Nothing can move between dimensions this quickly." In his Shadow Fleet command ship, Captain Anderson coordinated the attack. "Phase shift complete. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Remember, 3 seconds solid, 2 seconds shadow. Don't let them predict your rhythm." The battle that followed was unlike anything the Empire had seen in its 10,000 years of conquest. Their mighty warships, designed to fight traditional battles, were helpless against an enemy that could literally slip between the fabric of space-time. "Sir," Lieutenant White called out in the Earth Command Center, "Imperial ships are launching their fighter squadrons. Looks like their whole complement." Walker nodded. "Just as we predicted. Dr. Reed." Dr. Reed activated her console. "Launching countermeasure now. The quantum field is ready." As thousands of Imperial fighters streaked toward Earth, they hit what seemed like an invisible wall. Their quantum cores, the heart of their propulsion systems, simply stopped working. The fighters drifted helplessly in space, their pilots unable to do anything but wait for rescue. "How?" Marcus slammed his fist on his command chair. "How are they doing this?" The answer came in the form of more explosions as the Shadow Fleet continued its devastating attack. Earth's ships phased in, fired their weapons, and vanished before the Imperial vessels could even target them. "Admiral," His second-in-command spoke quietly. "We've lost 60 ships. Our fighters are disabled. Maybe we should." "No retreat," Marcus shouted. "The Empire does not retreat from primitives." But the Empire had never faced primitives like these. As Anderson's Shadow Fleet continued their hit-and-run attacks, the mighty Imperial Armada found itself in chaos. Their rigid battle formations, perfected over thousands of years, meant nothing against an enemy that could simply step out of reality. "Status report," Walker asked calmly, watching the battle unfold. "Enemy fleet is in disarray," Lieutenant White reported. "They've lost 87 ships. No casualties on our side. Shadow Fleet performing perfectly." Captain Anderson's voice came through the comm system. "Should we press the advantage, sir? We could end this right now." Walker considered for a moment. "No. We've made our point. All ships, hold position but maintain combat readiness. Let's see how the mighty Empire handles a bloody nose." As the Shadow Fleet ships reappeared in formation around Earth, the message was clear. The Empire's greatest fleet had just been defeated by a primitive world, and they hadn't even used their full strength. In his command chair, Admiral Marcus faced a harsh reality. The Empire hadn't just underestimated Earth's technology. They had stumbled into a fight with an enemy far more advanced than they could have imagined. And this was only the beginning. News of the fleet's defeat reached the Imperial capital within hours. In the golden halls of the Imperial Palace, Lord Dominion watched the battle recordings with growing anger. In his 10,000 years of rule, no planet had ever embarrassed his forces like this. "Impossible," he muttered, his metallic skin darkening with rage. "Show me the battle data again." His advisors nervously replayed the footage. The mighty Imperial ships exploded one after another, struck by enemies that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. The Empire's best sensors couldn't even track Earth's vessels. "My lord," one advisor spoke carefully, "perhaps we should consider a different approach. These humans have developed technologies we've never seen before." Lord Dominion rose from his throne. "In 10,000 years, I have conquered 1,000,000 worlds. I will not be stopped by a group of primitives who just learned to leave their planet." He turned to his military commander. "Prepare my personal battleship. I will lead the next attack myself." Back on Earth, the Global Defense Council was meeting in their underground chamber. Commander Walker stood before the world's leaders, explaining the situation. "The Empire won't give up easily," he said, pointing to the holographic display showing enemy movements. "Their entire society is built on never failing. Our victory has challenged their core beliefs." Dr. Reed stepped forward with her latest analysis. "We've studied their technology further. The Empire has been using the same basic designs for thousands of years. They stopped innovating. They stopped thinking creatively. Like a galaxy-wide case of writer's block," someone commented, drawing quiet laughter. "Exactly," Dr. Reed continued. "While they were busy ruling their empire, they forgot how to adapt. But adaptation is what humans do best." The meeting was interrupted by Lieutenant White rushing in. "Sir, we're detecting a massive hyperspace signature. It's bigger than anything we've seen before." The room's main screen lit up, showing a new ship emerging near Mars. It was enormous, easily twice the size of Admiral Marcus's flagship. Its hull was covered in gold and precious metals, marking it as something special. Lord Dominion's personal battleship, Walker identified it. "The Empire's ruler himself has come to teach us a lesson." Instead of fear, the room filled with quiet determination. Earth's leaders had expected this. Humanity had spent 3 years preparing for this fight, and they had a few more surprises ready. On his massive battleship, Lord Dominion stood proudly on the command deck. "Send the message," he ordered. "Let these humans know who has come to punish them." The transmission reached Earth moments later. Lord Dominion's image appeared on screens worldwide. His metallic face twisted in arrogant confidence. "People of Earth," his voice boomed. "I am Lord Dominion, ruler of the Galactic Empire for 10,000 years. Your resistance, while impressive, ends now. Surrender, and I may show mercy." In the command center, Walker looked at Dr. Reed. "Should we show him our latest project?" Dr. Reed smiled. "The quantum field disruptor is ready. Let's see how his ancient technology handles real innovation." Walker opened a channel to Earth's defense fleet. "Captain Anderson, deploy the QFD satellites. Let's give our guest a proper welcome." Across the solar system, hundreds of small satellites activated. They were simple devices, barely visible against the stars, but they carried Dr. Reed's newest invention, a field that disrupted the quantum harmonics the Empire's technology relied on. Lord Dominion was still speaking when his ship's engines began to sputter. Alarms blared across his mighty vessel as systems started failing one by one. "What is happening?" he demanded. His chief engineer's voice shook with fear. "My lord, they're using some kind of disruption field. Our quantum cores. They're not just failing, they're evolving. The code is rewriting itself." "Impossible," Lord Dominion shouted. "Our technology is perfect. It has worked for 10,000 years. That's your problem." Dr. Reed's voice came through their speakers. "Perfect means finished. Finished means dead. Humanity never stops improving." As if to prove her point, Earth's shadow fleet appeared around Lord Dominion's crippled battleship. The mighty vessel, pride of the Imperial fleet, floated helplessly in space as Earth's ships circled it like wolves around wounded prey. Commander Walker opened a channel. "Consider this another lesson, Lord Dominion. Age doesn't equal wisdom, and tradition doesn't equal strength. Earth is not some primitive world you can simply add to your collection." For the first time in 10,000 years, Lord Dominion felt something he had forgotten existed: fear. These humans weren't just resisting. They were systematically dismantling everything the Empire believed about its own superiority. General Maria Thompson stood in the Lunar Command Center, watching Earth's blue sphere through the reinforced windows. Behind her, dozens of officers monitored the Imperial fleet's movements. The massive golden ship of Lord Dominion still hung powerless in space, surrounded by Earth's shadow fleet. "Status report," she commanded. "The Empire is regrouping, General," reported her tactical officer. "They're bringing in reinforcements from 3 different sectors. Our long-range sensors detect at least 2,000 ships incoming." Thompson smiled. The Empire was reacting exactly as they had predicted. "Send word to all Earth defense stations. Begin Operation Evolution." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Dr. Reed worked frantically at her station. For 3 years, she had been studying a critical weakness in Imperial technology, and now was the time to use it. "Commander Walker," she called out, "I've confirmed my theory about their FTL drives." Walker moved to her station, examining the complex equations on her screen. "Explain it simply, Doctor." "The Empire's faster-than-light technology is based on quantum tunneling," she said, "but they're using an incredibly outdated method. It's like they found one way to do it and never looked for a better one. And you found a better one." "Better?" Dr. Reed laughed. "We found 37 better ways. But more importantly, we found their critical flaw." On his crippled flagship, Lord Dominion raged at his engineers. "How long until we have power?" "The humans' disruption field is unlike anything we've seen," one engineer responded. "It's not just blocking our systems, it's changing them, evolving them." "Evolving?" Dominion spat the word. "Imperial technology is perfect. It needs no evolution." Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered back to life. The engineers cheered, but their celebration was short-lived. "My lord," his sensor officer called out in alarm. "The humans, they're changing." On every screen, they watched as Earth's defense platforms and ships began to shift and transform. General Thompson had given the signal, and humanity revealed its greatest secret: adaptive technology. The Shadow Fleet vessels morphed before their eyes, their hulls flowing like liquid metal, weapon systems reorganizing themselves into new configurations. Even the small defense satellites were changing, becoming something new and more advanced with each passing minute. Impossible, Dominion whispered. In the lunar base, General Thompson addressed her forces. For 3 years, we've hidden our true capabilities. We showed them our shadow fleet, our quantum disruption fields, but we kept our greatest advantage secret, our ability to adapt and evolve our technology in real time. Dr. Reed's voice joined the transmission from Earth. Their FTL drives all used the same basic frequency for quantum tunneling. They never considered that there might be other frequencies, other methods. That's going to cost them dearly. The Imperial reinforcements began arriving, their ships popping into existence around the solar system. 2,000 vessels, the largest fleet the Empire had assembled in 1,000 years. But Earth was ready. All ships, activate Evolution Protocol Delta, General Thompson commanded. Show them what real advancement looks like. Earth's forces responded instantly. Their ships' hulls rippled and changed, developing new weapons, new defenses, new systems that the Empire's sensors couldn't even comprehend. The defense platforms transformed into massive weapon arrays, each one adapting to counter specific Imperial tactics. In the Rocky Mountain base, Dr. Reed made her final adjustments. Commander, the quantum resonance cascade is ready. Should I proceed? Walker nodded. Do it. Let's show them why evolution beats stagnation. Dr. Reed pressed a button, sending a simple signal throughout the solar system. Every Earth ship and station began broadcasting on specific quantum frequencies, frequencies that interfered directly with Imperial FTL drives. The effect was immediate and devastating. As the Imperial reinforcements tried to maneuver, their FTL drives began to malfunction. Ships appeared and disappeared randomly, their quantum tunneling systems thrown into chaos by Earth's evolved technology. What have you done? Lord Dominion demanded, watching his mighty armada fall into disarray. General Thompson's voice came through clear and strong. We've done what humanity has always done, Lord Dominion. We've adapted. We've evolved. While your empire spent 10,000 years standing still, we spent 3 years learning how to run. The message was clear. Earth hadn't just prepared for this fight. They had used it as an opportunity to push their technology even further. The Empire's greatest fleet now faced an enemy that could literally evolve during battle, adapting to counter every strategy, every weapon, every tactic they had perfected over millennia. The real war was about to begin, and humanity had just revealed their strongest card, the power to change. Commander Walker stood at his command station, watching the chaos unfold across the solar system. Imperial ships flickered in and out of existence as their FTL drives malfunctioned, trapped by Dr. Reed's quantum interference field. The mighty Empire's fleet was scattered, confused, and vulnerable. All forces, execute Operation Checkmate, he ordered. Show no mercy, but remember, we're making a point, not starting a genocide. Dr. Reed monitored the quantum readings from her station. The cascade effect is working perfectly. Each Imperial ship that tries to use its FTL drive makes the interference stronger. They're trapped in their own technology. In his crippled flagship, Lord Dominion watched in horror as his reinforcements fell into chaos. Ships appeared inside each other, their quantum tunneling systems completely confused. Others vanished only to reappear near Jupiter, their crews dizzy and disoriented. Stop all FTL operations, he commanded. Return to normal space. But it was too late. The quantum cascade was spreading through his fleet like a virus, affecting even ships that weren't using their drives. 10,000 years of using the same technology had created a fatal weakness. Every Imperial ship used exactly the same quantum frequency. General Thompson's voice echoed through every Imperial command channel. Begin the counterattack. All Earth forces, engage at will. The solar system erupted in light as Earth's forces struck. The Shadow Fleet phased in and out of reality, their evolved weapons systems cutting through Imperial defenses like paper. The transformed defense platforms fired quantum disruption beams that turned the Empire's mighty shields against them. This is impossible. Lord Dominion raged. We are the Empire. We have ruled for 10,000 years. We cannot be defeated by primitives. That's exactly why you're losing. Dr. Reed's voice answered him. 10,000 years of thinking you're perfect. 10,000 years of never changing, never improving. You forgot the most important law of nature. Adapt or die. As if to emphasize her point, Earth's ships continued to evolve mid-battle. Their hulls shifted and changed, developing countermeasures for each Imperial tactic. When the Empire's ships tried to concentrate their fire, Earth's vessels grew stronger shields. When they attempted to launch fighters, the defense platforms morphed to create point defense grids that filled space with quantum disruption fields. In the lunar base, General Thompson directed the battle with calm efficiency. "Status report," she ordered. "Enemy fleet is in complete disarray," her tactical officer reported. "We've disabled 600 ships without destroying them. Another 400 are trapped in quantum flux, their crews alive but unable to fight. The rest are retreating, or trying to." Lord Dominion stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His mighty armada, the pride of the Empire, was being systematically dismantled by a single planet's defense forces, not through brute force or superior numbers, but through innovation and adaptation. "My lord," his second-in-command spoke quietly. Perhaps we should consider surrender." Dominion's voice cracked with rage. "The Empire does not surrender." "Actually," Commander Walker's voice cut in, "you're about to do exactly that." Dr. Reed activated her final program. Across the solar system, every disabled Imperial ship's quantum core began to pulse in harmony. The energy built up slowly but steadily, creating a web of quantum resonance that connected every vessel. "What are you doing?" Lord Dominion demanded. "Giving you a choice," Walker replied. "Those quantum pulses will continue to build. In 10 minutes, they'll reach critical resonance. When that happens, every Imperial ship in the solar system will have its quantum core permanently burned out. You'll be stranded here, powerless, at our mercy." General Thompson added, "Or you can order your forces to stand down. We'll help you restore your ships to working order, with some modifications to ensure you can't threaten us again, and you can leave with your dignity partially intact." Lord Dominion, ruler of 1,000,000 worlds, conqueror of galaxies, stood silent on his powerless bridge. Through the viewport, he watched as another group of his ships appeared near Saturn, their crews shouting in panic as their drives malfunctioned. The mighty Empire had finally met its match. Not in strength of arms or numbers, but in humanity's endless drive to adapt and improve. The decision he made next would change the course of galactic history forever. 5 minutes remained until quantum resonance reached critical levels. The countdown had begun. With just 30 seconds remaining on the quantum resonance countdown, Lord Dominion made his decision. 10,000 years of Empire history weighed on his shoulders as he opened the communication channel. "This is Lord Dominion to all Imperial forces." His voice trembled slightly. "Stand down. Power down all weapons and quantum systems." Throughout the solar system, the remaining Imperial ships went dark. Their weapons powered down, and their engines fell silent. The mighty armada that had conquered 1,000,000 worlds now floated helplessly in space, surrounded by Earth's evolved defense forces. Commander Walker nodded to Dr. Reed. "Stop the quantum cascade. Let's show them we keep our word." Dr. Reed's fingers moved across her console, and the threatening pulse of energy faded from the Imperial ship's quantum cores. In the lunar base, General Thompson began coordinating the cleanup operation. "Send out the repair teams," she ordered. "Remember the modifications we discussed." Earth's ships approached the disabled Imperial vessels, their hulls morphing to extend repair arms and diagnostic equipment. The Shadow Fleet maintained its guard position, phasing in and out of reality around the Imperial fleet. Lord Dominion stood on his bridge, watching as human engineers boarded his mighty flagship. Their technology continued to adapt even as they worked, improving and evolving with each passing moment. "You could have destroyed us," he said quietly when Commander Walker transported aboard. "Why didn't you?" Walker looked at the ancient ruler. Because that's not who we are. We defend. We don't conquer. We adapt. We don't destroy. That's the message we want you to take back to your empire. Dr. Reed joined them, carrying a small device. Your ship's quantum cores have been modified. They'll work perfectly for normal space travel and FTL jumps. But, she smiled, they'll shut down automatically if they enter the solar system again. Consider it a safety feature. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, the Global Defense Council gathered for humanity's most important announcement. The council leader stepped forward, activating the galactic communication network that Earth had reverse-engineered from Imperial technology. Attention, species of the galaxy, her voice rang out across thousands of light years. This is Earth speaking. Today, we demonstrated something important to the Galactic Empire, and now we want to share it with all of you. Images of the battle appeared on communication screens across the galaxy. Countless alien civilizations watched in amazement as Earth's forces systematically dismantled the supposedly invincible Imperial fleet. The solar system is now declaring itself a sovereign, independent territory. We have no interest in joining any empire, confederation, or alliance. Our space is closed to any force that seeks dominion over others. To emphasize this point, Earth's defense platforms began their final transformation. They merged and expanded, forming a vast network of interconnected stations around the solar system. Each station carried Dr. Reed's quantum disruption technology, creating an impenetrable barrier of evolved defenses. To demonstrate our resolve, the council leader continued, we have established the Guardian Network. Any hostile ship attempting to enter our space will find their technology, disagreeing with them strongly. Lord Dominion watched the network's activation from his flagship. You've changed everything, he said to Walker. The Empire's power was built on our technological superiority. Now you'll have to evolve. Walker finished. Just like we did. Just like every species should. As the Imperial ships prepared to leave, repaired but forever changed, Dr. Reed activated one final system. Quantum beacons appeared throughout the solar system, each one broadcasting a simple message in every known language. Earth DCLA Aries. No Intirai for Galactic Empire, or Ani who seek to kill and QER. General Thompson watched from the lunar base as the Imperial fleet departed, their ships disappearing into FTL jumps that would take them home. Do you think they learned their lesson? She asked over the command channel. They'd better have, Walker replied. Because next time, we'll be even stronger. That's what humanity does. We never stop evolving. In the following days, Earth received thousands of messages from other civilizations across the galaxy. Some offered trade agreements, others sought diplomatic relations, but none dared to suggest conquest or domination. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Earth was not just another primitive world to be added to an empire's collection. It was the planet that had reminded the galaxy of evolution's most important law. Adapt or become obsolete. And in the Imperial Palace, for the first time in 10,000 years, Lord Dominion ordered his scientists to begin researching new technologies. The age of stagnation was over. The age of evolution had begun.